Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Now let's begin our portion where we discuss what we heard. And to tell you the truth, I'm so excited about what I was speaking about. I almost forgot myself. But I'm just so filled with awe at how he works in our lives. And, many of us here have been given a new name. Um, we call Mauricio now, we call him Yosef. Remember? Yeah, your father is Moshe, like Miriam's father. Brian is Baruch. Hey, Brian, how are you feeling today, Baruch? You okay? Oh no. Okay, we're keeping you in prayer. So, what did you think of the message? Any comments?
Very good message. It's so interesting that names are not labels. You know, when you say that's a stapler, it's a label, or it might describe it, but I don't know. It's not the same thing. A name, is your character, your everything, who you are. And it's funny, you see that um, for example, actors or you see criminals who take on names, like their name may be Robert, but they call themselves Lefty or Bad Boy. Now it's sort of an in thing to describe somebody as, they call him the bad boy of the group, or the bad boy is, and that's a thought of now as a good thing. It means you're a rebel, means and what does it mean at bottom? What is a rebel? Really, it's against God, because when you see a rebel, let's say somebody who's gentle and good, and it doesn't always come home at 5 in the morning from the bar or whatever, and you call that person, and it's almost considered it is not even almost considered a compliment, bad boy, I'm, whatever, Tuffy, and all these things. Even when we name an animal, we take a characteristic and we name. The name is so important.
Holds a reputation. It's a
Yeah.
reputation that it's like I know people like the lady that I sing for.
So bad means you're so good.
So bad means you're so good. Exactly. But she speaks of her husband as a mensch. A mensch is a beautiful word in Hebrew, and it means, and Yiddish, it means he was a real person, like a good man, a righteous person, good qualities. And those are the types of qualities that we want to develop in that. So when people think of us, they think of those good qualities that, when we think of people, we think of their, um, or anyway, okay. Mauricio.
It's interesting what you said, like Caleb's name. Remember, we're talking about Caleb's name wasn't changed. And when you think of it, to be joined with Israel, you're basically leaving your roots, and and he's prince of the tribe of Judah. I mean, that in itself is a change. He already kind of made the change. I don't know, but it's interesting that like his name wasn't changed because he, I don't know, maybe because he had that name already given to him because of what he's done already, you know.
Yeah. To me, sometimes it gets a little confusing because I remember the day, when I was brought into Christianity. And I just want to reiterate that I'm not there anymore.
You're
That
not what? Sorry?
not there anymore. I'm not in Christianity. I was told when I was brought into that, pray to have Jesus come into my heart and everything would change. I would be a new creature in Christ, as they would say. And yet I knew I felt different. Something did happen. And that's what's confusing, because something did happen. I woke up the next day and all I wanted to do was to read the Bible, whereas before I couldn't. But did it have something to do with the person, Rabbi Yeshua? It had to do with God. He opened my heart. He circumcised, literally a circumcision of heart. But, it's hard to explain to people what that means because we don't understand the nature of the soul, the nature of the spirit. So, uh, but I know that definitely was a change. I wanted to live differently.
Yes, I just want to add something that uh, it was a very good message. And when you read all the names that have changed in the Bible, is true. They added one of the letters of the Yud by Her.
Right.
Uh, Abraham, Sarah, Sarai. You
Right.
know, in already Jacob and Isaac had the name, one letter of of that there. And Osea, Yehoshua. But it's like, God really doesn't want to change you as he created you.
Right.
He just wants that you add something else to your life,
Yes.
which is his name. Okay. And that honestly makes change, okay, in all of us, okay. No matter if your name, I don't know, there's so many names that are not really Hebrew, okay, but if you add God to your life, to your nature, then you will have a change, and and that is something that really it's important,
Yes. Can I
okay.
1 second? Only
Yeah.
because Miriam and I went downtown yesterday and we were walking. And as we were walking, we see the nature of a lot of the people there. There are a lot of people who come from up north to Montreal in the summertime. And many of them come from the tribe, one of the tribes that live there. I don't know what they are, but they are so drunk. They can't even stand. They're so drunk. And you see a lot of different people. One man was just sitting there and his head was down, completely lost. The nature, and I turned to Miriam, I said, this is the fall of man from God. When God is not in our lives, there's nowhere to go but down. And as soon as God comes into our lives, there's nowhere to go but up. It's just such a difference, and our world needs God right now. Not religion, God.
Yeah, and God is inside of us. Okay. He
Yes.
created us with that capability. But the point is that God is, as you mentioned, He gave us the free will. Okay. So we chose what to do with our lives in certain way. And then we give more space to things that are not God, more of us, more of anything else. And then, but the light is there. And as mentioned the prophet, no matter if it's only smoke there,
Right.
you can burn it. Okay. Um, that is something special. Then I was wondering about the spies, during these days. Israel today with a uh, with a war with Iran and the war of Gaza and the war of Lebanon and all these warriors. And you know what how important is to have persons who really do not have this lashon hara. Okay, Moshe asked them to prepare a report, and they do not make a report. What they do is they talk from their heart what was inside of them. Okay, and and today I come to my mind what will happen if, for example, the spies that Israel sent out to Iran today, they will come to say, oh no, we are look like
Grasshopper.
grasshoppers, and we cannot beat Iran. They have nuclear weapons and things like that. Okay, probably we cannot see the things that we are looking today. So, and this is something really important, um, when 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 God, well, God allowed to Moshe to send the scouts to the land because, according to what the Barim says later, okay, God gave the permission. Okay, it was not lack of faith. Okay, it was just to confirm what God said. The point is that not all the spies were really prepared, I would say, and this is something that I can see today. Uh, for example, when there is nothing around you and someone gives you an assignment, no matter if in your job or is in your family, when you are getting married, for example, things like that. Okay, there is nothing, and from the nothing you need to create something. Okay, and this is happening continually in our lives.
Mm.
Okay, and God give us projects. Okay,
Mm.
so it depends how is our heart, then that is how we will see the opportunities or the incapabilities we could have.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is very important for all of us.
Mhm.
Okay, because uh I remember like 3 or 4 persons during in my job. People, I don't know why they like to say you won't be able to do it.
Right.
You cannot do that. That is impossible. We have tried before.
Mm.
Okay. But in my answers to all these people were, well, if God wants that things come to pass, then he will allow me to do. And then if he's not his will, then I will fail.
Mhm.
And the fourth things that I said that thanks God, he helped me. Okay, he saved me.
Mhm.
Okay, now, but this is very important because I don't know why I'm saying that, but probably there's some persons that today they have an opportunity. Okay, and then you don't feel like, oh God, like Gideon, right? Oh God, if there's a cloud and there's snow, when during the summer, okay, then that is your will. Okay, things like that, because we're trying to do that.
Right.
No, it's just that God gives you the opportunity, take it.
Right.
Okay, in probably this is something that, um no matter if you fail or not fail, the point is that probably God only wants that we face our fears. Okay, in because for example, Santi during the past days he went into the engineering school. Okay, on that, well, he made the test, but the university was so difficult, I will say, because not only they ask things like that probably isn't, for me, are not important, honestly. Okay, for an engineer, but probably for them is good. But he was very close to enter because he failed, and I was talking to him. Okay, uh, Santi, there's no problem. Okay, you give your best. Okay, you did it well. Okay, but sometimes for what you told me, okay, probably God is caring about you with saying no.
It's leading you in another direction.
Is leading you to another direction or leading you to meet the people you need to meet in the future. Okay. Eh, so do not be like ashamed, like no, get
Right.
up. The Bible says that the the righteous falls 7 times,
Right.
and from all of them, God lift them up. Okay, so don't worry. But the point is that for me is very important when that is not the same when you say, "Oh, I will not try because I'm not good enough." That's don't come from God.
Right.
That is to to fly away.
Right.
No, sometimes you need to face
Right.
uh, things in that is important for life. Then, if heaven wants that you make it or not, that depends on him,
Right.
not on you.
Right.
But so in also this week, um, you know, I went to my father's farm, okay, on Tuesday because that was a holiday in El Salvador, and since we buried him, we didn't have the opportunity to go. And then I went and I thank God for the opportunity to have a great father like him, and honor him and and many things come in my mind, uh, for this week. But you know that's but for me it comes to my mind that what is more important is, uh, to be a father, is to cover and to feed. I don't know how the word is nutrients, but in Spanish to is not only feel, is to give energy, to give when, for example, when you eat, you can eat junk food, and
Right.
that is not help. But you can eat, for example, vegetables and fruits and things like that,
Healthy
and
nur-
that will feed you.
yeah.
Sorry,
Healthy nurturing.
nutrient, yeah.
Nurturing. Yeah.
So we as father need to nutrient our kids.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so that's very important, and to give them cover
Right.
when our parents are not longer with us, so we need to face
Yeah. It's true.
alone.
Yeah. Before when I said about the people we saw that all they need is God, well, they need a lot more than God. They need people who care. They need community. That's why God created
Yeah,
community. Yeah. It's so important for us.
so that's it.
Yeah.
And thank you for the message, Peggy.
And thank
Honestly,
you for
thank
your
you.
perspective. I always appreciate your perspective and yours too, Miriam. We have so much to learn, and the Torah is so beautiful. I really, oh my goodness, I just really wish we could reach more people and people would hear what we're learning. I know the Torah said, the Bible always tells us that it's a remnant, but the remnant uses the smallest of us. He used David to destroy Goliath, and I love these stories. They're just so wonderful. So, does anyone else have any comments or any questions about what we heard? Yes, Moshe, you need to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
All right. I only want to use 1 minute. Thank you very much for the message. I've liked it. Um, I want to relate it to the current generation, but in a negative way,
To,
whereby
to the parents' generation?
current
Oh,
generation,
the current generation. Yes.
yes, whereby um by those days, God used it to change people's names. Like we can see Sarah to Sarai, Abraham to Abraham, and etc. Now, this time, in the current generation, youth are using that chance to change their names, but in a wrong way, or in a bad way. For example, Miriam was talking about it, about the bad boys, then the gangsters. So that's how the youth of this generation are misusing the other chance or the other reputation of changing the name.
Yes.
Remember, God was changing the names with the meaning attached to them, and then with the value according to the time or according to the event or the the happening. So the youth this time around, they are using it in a negative way, whereby it is now our role to keep praying for the world. It's now our role to keep maybe discouraging such among our children. It's now our role to keep teaching our children what is supposed to be done, both biblically and spiritually. So that's what I had. Thank you very much.
And God has put you in a place, Moshe, because He's put you in a place where you have many children that you can instruct and teach and bring up in the proper way. Because from what I see when I went with Miriam downtown, I was afraid with this next generation. They're the ones who are going to be taking care of us in our old age, and yet it looks like most of them only care about themselves. So, but wherever we can make a difference in the lives and reflect God's light, and that's our job, to reflect His light and to live righteously. And so, when someone thinks of our name now, they think of something good, like we've touched their lives in some way, even if it's in a small way. You know, the Torah teaches us how some were in charge of 10, some were in charge of 100, some of 1,000. We don't know. We may be in charge of one person, but it's up to us to be a light to that person or persons wherever we go. So if that's all, I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom. We look forward to having a good week. We never know what's going to happen during this week, so we have to just keep praying for those people in our community who need healing, who need help in any way. Pray for our cities, our governments, and
For Israel.
for Israel especially.
Mm.
Exactly.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom. Shabbat
Thank you,
shalom.
Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy, everyone.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank
Bye.
you for the message, Peggy.
You're welcome.
Thank-
Shalom,
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.